Gary Mertig,
Yep.
Marty Vitek,
Yep.
John Wiener,
Here.
Rich Huber,
Here.
Kathy Schutte here. I need an approval for the minutes from the October meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Marty,
I'll second it.
seconded by Rich. And then, for invited public guests, that's Mary McFetridge. She has something, she has a Christmas present for us.
Oh, wow. Morning, everybody.
Morning.
I have sun. I brought the sun.
She got the sun.
So we have a new Ashland County inland lakes map. This one here. And this is, we had some fishing guides and bait shops working on. We have a Chequamegon Bay one from up north. And then we did this one for the inland county lakes. So it's a really nice piece. It's kind of the popular piece right now that we're working on. And we just had, do you know who John Gillespie is from Woods to Water? He's a fishing guy, and he's very dramatic, if you've ever seen him.
Okay.
You know, he gets really into catching his fish. Anyway, they just did a show in Lake Fall on the bay, and then he aired it 2 weekends ago, and then it aired again this last weekend. And we've had, pushing 450 requests for this map. So, that's great, because nowadays with the internet, we don't receive requests like we used to. So to get that amount is amazing. But it's a great map.
Good.
So anyway, and we're working on the visitor guide, selling that. It's been a great year for tourism. We're really fortunate, to be in the place that we're at. So, so we're not as hurt as the Dells or some of the bigger areas, So we're very fortunate. And so we continue to promote, things that are outdoor recreation. So things are going well. Do you have any questions, comments?
Is it true, Mary, that when somebody comes from the cities and they want to buy property, Bayfield is booming?
I think everybody's booming.
Everybody's booming. Houses aren't on the thing very long.
No, it's everywhere. We've had in Ashland County and Bayfield County a housing issue for a couple, probably 5-10 years now, where we just don't have the housing available, or it's either really bad or it's really, there's not any middle ground. So I think that right now what we're hearing though is so for example, Choice Title, they're on my board, and she said, I feel guilty because we have too much work, and there's businesses that are suffering, but she said the housing market is just so crazy everywhere that they're doing so many closings. So, yeah.
It's true. And I said earlier, a few months ago, when I sold a house in Ashland, I sold it in one day.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Listed it on Friday and Saturday. The first people made a full list offer, and I took it. And their reason was interest rates are dirt cheap,
Yeah.
and they're fixing them. This couple got a 20-year fixed rate for under 3%. Fixed.
You're exactly
That's
right.
unheard
I
of.
was just going to say that, it's fixed, and who gets a fixed rate
Right.
these days? So
Oh,
that's really more than the out-of-town people. You hear the stories like, I'm scared, when there was all the protesting and everything going on, they were scared to be in a smaller town. I'm sure that happens, but for the most part, people are refinancing. So like the title companies are crazy, the banks are crazy, and but there's people that are renting, that moving into the house, and and the other thing I want to say is employment. Employment, people are trying. We're having so much problem getting people to work.
Yeah.
We have jobs available. So if you hear on the national media, like, employment rates are, unemployment is skyrocketing, that's not true everywhere at all. So we're really struggling, and I think it's kind of the county-wide area. But, yes.
It's kind of funny where you talk about the economy or the housing market is doing really good, but I'm on the Land and Zoning Committee, and we have never seen such a downfall in people losing their houses and people losing their lands.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that balances out, but we're getting lists and lists and lists and lists every time we go to a meeting.
So that's a really good point. Are you finding more in the, in kind of the outlying areas, Or is it more in like the city of
It's
Ashland?
just
or
Ashland
Meadow?
County, period, yeah.
Yeah,
But, yeah.
that's very
it's-
interesting.
It's a shame how many people are losing their places.
What are there, do you have reasons? I mean, do you know why?
I never did check into the reasons why, but
John, are they agriculturally related?
I don't know about that one. Because if it's in Mellon, Glidden, and it's all over, I don't know if it'd be agriculture, but
Well,
I really
honestly,
don't know
I
why the
haven't heard that.
downfall is, but, you know, maybe, the people in the lower brackets can't afford it, you know, and the people that are making wages are probably buying, and in that middle class area there, maybe it's not happening, you know?
Yeah, good point. I haven't heard that, honestly. So,
I was just kinda wondering.
yeah, thanks for bringing it up. I'm curious now. I gotta go do some research. I haven't heard that.
Anybody else have a question for Mary? Comment,
I have a
question?
question for you when we're done with Mary.
Okay,
Ooh.
okay.
I just don't want you to get too far ahead.
All right, Mary,
Are you
thank
gonna
you.
talk about me?
Yeah, just sit there and pretend like you're not
When
here.
we talk about you, all be nice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. well,
Oh, good.
that was my-
An early Christmas present.
Man,
Okay.
man, it was Mary. Thank you,
All right.
Mary.
I just wanted to ask, we have amended agenda. Do we need to have committee approval of that
Yes.
amended agenda before we get too far along?
Thank you. I've got it on my list right here. So, what we need to do is, number 10 has been added to the agenda. So, I need a motion to amend the agenda and include the forestry's, it's the Schwamigan Boat Club lease, correct?
Correct.
So, we need a motion to adopt the agenda, and we need that a motion and a second by the board.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion by Marty.
I'll make the second.
Marty and John. All those in favor?
Aye.
Do we need a roll call vote?
None of that, so,
Okay,
Isn't money, is it?
no.
no, so that passes. So that will be number 10B on your agenda. Thank you. All right, let's go to the next one. Snowmobile ATV Trail, Bill Chandler, Chris Hoffman.
I have nothing for Chris or Bill.
All right. And Bill is not here today, he's out sick.
Yeah. Have you been helping Tom with, I see all the signs are up on some of the trails and stuff. Is that,
No, that would be Larry Beekner, Larry Jurcell.
Okay.
And Bruce Norek, I believe.
Okay.
These past couple weekends, they got stuff, everything posted, doing a little bit of brushing. I've
Yeah.
been working on the beaver dam down south of town here, trying to get that drained.
okay,
And guys been brushing some of the trails around here, getting stuff
Yeah.
cleaned up and ready.
because I see, the good thing this year will be that the ground is freezing. So if we ever do get snow, at least we should have some of
Should be
those.
a good base
Yeah.
anyway to be able to go through the swamps and everything.
Right,
You can work on trails longer because there's no snow or,
right.
you know, I got a question, I've got time here, but, a while ago, they were gonna have a meeting with some of the, snowmobile people, remember? And did that ever happen, or where's that at?
That never did happen.
The
I
meeting
don't,
has not happened yet, Chris has been sick,
Okay,
and he's trying to get healed up before they have this meeting.
okay,
And as soon as he does feel comfortable enough, we will have the meeting and get some stuff squared away.
okay, 'cause then, so we'll know about that and we're.
Definitely, I will get
Okay.
hold of you guys whenever we decide to have that meeting.
Okay, 'cause yeah, it's taken quite a while. I mean, it's been
Yeah.
happening like half a year ago already or something. So I was just wondering where that was, so, okay.
and I have received a couple phone calls to ask, have we had that meeting yet too? So the guys out there are waiting to have that meeting.
Yeah, I'm sure, because anytime they're ready to have a meeting, but it's just,
Yeah.
seems like we're held up on this end.
Okay. And Chris is out with serious stuff too, so it isn't,
Yeah,
But it seems the sooner we can get that resolved, the better.
yeah, it is,
I
because
agree.
it's just getting worse as festering.
Yeah.
What if, go ahead.
I was gonna say, to some degree, it's kind of been resolved to some degree.
Oh.
Bill Chandler is no longer the president of the Snowmobile Alliance.
That's what I heard.
Pat Douse is the president now, and so he's been able to kind of streamline and delegate things a little bit. Unfortunately, or I say unfortunately, just because I think it kind of still adds complication to the matter, Bill was elected the vice president of the alliance, so he still is involved with that, you know, at a high capacity, but It seems in the communications that our office has got from some of the snowmobile club members and through Mr. Dowse, that Pat has kind of been, taking the lead on that and coordinating things pretty well. So I think some of it's starting to run smoother already without even having the meeting.
Yeah, I think Pat's pretty capable with that.
Yeah.
What was Pat's last name?
Dowse.
Dowse.
He used to be on the county board when he lived in the county. Yeah, a number of years, a couple terms.
He has something to do with that tri-county corridor.
He's
Right.
the commissioner.
Commissioner, yeah.
Yes.
No,
It's
that's,
okay.
No, Mary, that's fine to do. Okay. And maybe that will get this situation kind of
It'd
back,
be nice to get it resolved, so it's,
get it back
Yeah.
on talking
Yeah.
conditions again. Resolve this.
Yeah.
Don't
Keep
keep
on-
bringing it up month after month. That
festering and
doesn't help.
festering and,
Yeah,
Yes.
good.
Okay, any questions, any other questions? No. Then we'll move on to number 6, the Recreation Officer, Bruce Jonas.
Bruce is not here. I do not have a report for him. I can kind of speak to some things that have been happening in the county forest. We did see, I would say, probably more illegal activity
Illegal.
this fall than other falls. We've had 5 or 6 illegal deer stand ATV issues that our department, along with Bruce, along with the conservation warden, have dealt with. A couple of dumping incidents where people are taking, residential garbage, tires, TVs, plastic, things of that nature, and dumping it in the county forest. We fished some tires and some plastic out of Minnow Creek and a TV out of the Chippewa River, and it's just, I don't know if it's a sign of the economic times or what, but it seems like there's more of that happening this year than other years.
Yeah. One thing I think that helps that situation get worse is that they're clamping down on what they're gonna take at these disposable places,
Oh, yeah.
and they're charging so much
Yeah.
for this stuff. And that's why you're gonna see more and more of that dumping illegally, so I think we should try to get those prices back down so they're reasonable.
Right, and we're talking big volumes. Myself and one of the fellows that works for the town of Morris, I mean, we picked up in the neighborhood of 15 or 20 tires that somebody had dumped along the road. They drove and threw one out here and threw one out there, and I mean, they were laying in the road, they were laying in the creek. It's a real mess.
Just an update too, in case, the highway committee approved, County F is now open, the entirety of F from is this 3rd Street, or it's 3rd Street here?
Third Street's right here.
Okay, so from here all the way to the Iron County line is open on County F. County N is open officially. County C is open.
yeah.
County GG South from Clam Lake to the Sawyer County line is open. GG, and anybody who has, and you'll get more heat on this than I will, but GG between Clam Lake and Mellon is not and will not be open.
Yeah, I know there's been a big
Regardless of
issue
what
on
those
that.
guys say, and I know they've been calling me steady,
Yeah.
that's the most dangerous road in the county.
That's a death trap.
It's no shoulders and it curves the entire 20 miles. They have been pushing and pushing. Now County M was open, so that's alleviated the problem. We only own like 1.75 miles or whatever of M before it hits Bayfield. So those roads are all open. But my phone has rang a couple of times from those people, and I said, look I drove that road for 5 years. That is a terrible road.
Yeah,
It's
there was
not-
an issue on VGs. They've been trying to get it to open up, but the issue was is if they ever had like 13 blocked off again, where GG had to get all this traffic again. So that was the biggest issue of all,
Yeah.
is the traffic situation.
It's just, but that should help. People shouldn't have a problem anymore with these roads,
When you open these roads up, is that creating more trouble, you think?
not so far.
Good.
Actually, I don't think a lot of people know that they're open.
Even open, yeah.
But,
Yeah.
and that's fine, because the Peaksville people always were running the short stretch of F anyways, but, now they, the ones who were running F, like past me and out to the Floyd, they can
It's legal now.
legally go on there, so.
But it's not open from Clam Lake to Mellon.
No,
Clam Lake to Mellon, GG is not.
no. No.
No. GG South from Clam Lake to Sawyer County is open. There was a short stretch always in there, 6/10 or 8/10 of a mile, but now the entire road is open.
See, the issue is, they really don't need GG. I mean, you got the county, the Forest Service roads from, all the way from Clam Lake to Mellon that you can go
Right.
use, so, yeah, that was not a very,
There is a reasonable route, you're saying,
Yeah,
parallel roughly to
Yeah.
GG? No.
yeah.
Especially with no shoulder and curvy roads and going fast, you know, everybody tends to go fast on that road because it's,
It's hard to even drive with, meeting a log truck, that's pretty tight, you know?
Yeah. But John, we're at, that must be a pretty lengthy, out of the way trails then, eh? 'Cause I can't think of any way that you get from Mellon to Clam Lake on a forestry road unless you go way over by, you have to go over by Marengo and over by, that way, wouldn't you? To
Way
get,
up there?
come back around over to by the, I don't know how you get there. I don't know, to tell you the truth.
Trailer, I told one guy.
Well, that's what I mean, you have to, 'cause I don't think you can get from Clam Lake to Mellon in all the forestry roads.
Right.
you can, but you gotta do some way around.
Well, that's what I mean, you have to go way out of the
Yeah,
way
you
and
do.
then come back.
Minnow
again
Lake
and
Road
over.
or whatever, yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Now you're in my district.
Yeah, we'd be up by you, stop for lunch.
Right.
Got some venison.
Whenever I feel the need,
Yeah.
whenever I feel the need to get lost, I drive out on those roads.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Let's move on. Number 7, fish biologist,
Not here.
no report. DNR wildlife biologist, Jenna?
Just an update for those who are familiar with CDAC, who decides how many antlerless tags. The last 3 years, CDAC had increased the population goal. In two of the last 3 years, I believe, we had some doe tags. There were 500 issued this last year. It was a goal of 200, or 200 were issued, and you've got to have 500 to get to the 200. Well, they actually shot 301, might be just a little higher than that. But the committee last night, in the first of 2 meetings, the next one will be in January sometime, it was decided to stay with the increase the population. So that doesn't mean there won't be antlerless tags, but the committee in the last couple of years has maintained all of them on private land rather than public land, because everybody seems to be concerned about the public land. And the other issue obviously will be the wolf hunt this next fall, so.
Well, the trade, that's coming around,
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see what that looks like, but.
Yeah.
They did advertise that on the TV, that there's gonna be a wolf hunt next year.
Yeah, so.
On these, agenda items here, I thought where people didn't show up and stuff, I thought we was gonna have maybe like a written report from some of
Yeah.
these.
I would like to see that if you cannot
Because-
make it to the meeting, because this does not look good to not
I
have
thought that's
reports
what
month
maybe you
after month.
suggested last time, maybe to have a written report. It'd be easy to do for some.
Even a
this
couple
person.
paragraphs, Tom.
Okay, I'll shoot them guys an email and see if they'd be willing to do that.
For instance, on Ag and Extension for the county, everybody gives a written report. It's at least, it's everything they've done in the last month. They keep track of it and they put it as bullets.
Okay.
And some are a page and a half long. So we would like, rather than see no report, we would like to see what they got paid for.
Because I'm sure there's some issues, you know.
Yeah, what did they do? Did they,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
county employees, we have that control over the DNR. I mean, we can politely ask them, but at the end of the day, if
Yeah.
they don't want to or don't have time, they're not gonna provide us a written report.
Yeah,
No,
they're kind of like
unfortunately.
invited guests.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Currently, there isn't a fisheries biologist.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, because the last one left, right, they,
okay.
And just not to jump your gun, but Joe Rennick is brand new. He was on the call last night, but he's just getting his feet wet up in
Okay.
this area. You guys probably work.
Well, yeah, actually, Joe is no longer our liaison. I'll get to that at
Oh,
a point in time, but
okay.
yeah. There's a lot of shuffling going on within DNR Forestry right now.
All right.
Good, thank you.
All right, so then we'll go on to number 9, DNR report, Joe Rennick, new employment.
Yep, so Joe is not here. Joe was the interim county forest liaison. he's no longer the interim county forest liaison. They've hired a new forester. His name is Avery Janke. We've met with him a couple of times. I actually spent the day out cruising timber with him yesterday, and he'll be taking over the role as the county forest liaison.
Okay, can you spell his last name?
Jehanke, I believe.
Jehanke.
Anke.
Not a big deal, but Joe's last name's got a C in it. It's Nick. Not a big deal,
Okay.
but
Joe will still be assuming his role in Mellon as the forest ranger. So
Okay.
he's in charge of all the wildfires, and he'll occasionally help out Avery on his workload on the county forest. But
Oh, good.
from this point forward, Avery's the point person as our liaison with the DNR.
Okay. Thank you for that update. Any questions?
No.
We'll go to number 10, and that's Chris Hoffman's report. And number A, or letter A, is the approval of the timber sales, and if I remember Tom correctly, they have been opened and approved, and the board just needs to approve the
Sale.
sale. Thank you.
Yeah, so we offered 5 sales, 4 of them we received bids on, 1 of them we did not receive any bids on. We're looking for approval to sell the sales to the highest bidder.
Can you tell me which ones didn't sell? Is that okay?
Tract 18-20 would be on page 2 of 3.
No sale on this one.
Let me ask you this, are we making money hand over fist or not?
Barely making money.
Are we
Hate to
gonna
say
get
that,
to
but-
our,
well, the timber revenues was at what, 680?
We're at 686.5 is what we're gonna be at for the year.
Which is pretty good
Yeah,
considering.
that's extremely good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, we fared
considering
much better.
We thought we weren't even gonna get to 6.
Yeah, no, we did very well here just that couple months, so.
yeah,
And we would have some revenue in December, or not?
There'll be some carryover, there's wood that's being hauled today that we don't logistically have the time to invoice and bill and get those payments back by the end of the year, so that'll get carried into 2021.
Okay,
and wasn't our goal to get to 745,000 or whatever?
750 every
750?
That's our budgeted
So
goal.
we did very well.
Right.
Right, well, that emergency timber sale that we put together was a big bump. I mean,
Bump.
that probably, I don't know, what would you say that generated, Tom, those Aspen sales?
150 to 200.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That was good then.
Good.
well, the county appreciates it.
Oh, I bet they
And
do.
at our next county board meeting, we should make mention in the public comments how the forestry came through again,
Yeah, I mean,
because we don't have a lot of good news on the rest
no,
of the budget.
no, and unfortunately, 2021 is gonna be just as difficult, if
Right.
not potentially more difficult than 2020 was, and we're trying and doing everything we can to, find the best markets and market the most marketable timber, but, as you see with this bid opening, we can only do so much, and if the pricing isn't there, the pricing isn't there, and that's out of everybody's control, so.
When you get the minimum bid, then you get the bid.
Yep.
The $15, is that per cord? or-
Per cord, correct,
Oh,
yeah.
And then when you go to red poles here, that's $45
Per cord, yep,
per cord, huh?
yep.
John, does that make you wonder, go, oh my
Or-
gosh?
I think I'll cut my trees out there, huh?
Well, and you can see, the bidders, especially like in this sale, they're low bidding it, hoping there's no competition, and they were right in this case.
Yeah.
I mean, they went to the minimum bid,
There's 2 of them like that.
and they figured, well, nobody's gonna beat me out, where a couple years ago, we would've had 5, 6 people
Bidders.
bidding.
Right, yeah.
And
Yeah.
And Gary, why is that they didn't bid?
Well, a lot of people, for what our markets are right now, a lot of people have a tremendous amount of wood
Wood,
purchased, yeah.
It's already ready
Right,
to move,
right.
and they can't move.
That Verso mill closure has eliminated about 60% of our marketing capacity in the hardwood pulp sector, so.
I think maybe basically the bidders on this are the bigger logger companies,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Schrader
yeah.
and Sappy, and them
Yeah.
people are
Yeah.
big logging outfits, and the little guys are not in there, so they can't compete, so.
I did notice when I came past that sappy yard up here, that the ends of that wood looks pretty dark colored. So like it's been there for a while.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna, say that, I don't know if you know anything about that Berkshire thing up in Duluth, what's going on with that, or Superior, or whatever it is? Is that, are they still making, somebody said they reopened again?
Yeah, I heard maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago that they were in the process of, starting that back up to some capacity. I don't know how much.
Oh.
From what I know, most of our wood from this area didn't go to that facility of Verso.
Oh, okay.
It sounds like that facility buys most of their wood out of northern Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
All of the hardwood pulp that comes off the forest typically always went to the Wisconsin Rapids facility,
Oh,
which
did
is
it?
still closed down.
And I have said this for 10 years. 10 years ago, the human cry was the National Forest is not cutting any timber.
Yeah.
Gotta cut National Forest. Now they're cutting, now the market's flooded. Guess what? That's just what happens when you ask for too much.
Yeah.
Because they're putting bids out all the time too, and they still are hiring timber guys because they wanna make money, and now the market has got too much wood again,
Yeah,
so.
it's flooded.
Yeah, so,
I was reading a story about part of the issue, and I don't know if it's true or not, but it has to do with some tariff shenanigans between us and Canada. Shenanigans ain't probably the right word, but there's that's having an effect. That's one of the reasons why some of this treated pine has been gotten so expensive, and that, the whole border business. There's some
Construction
going on
wood, you
there.
mean, yeah, you think that, yeah, they really went up.
And then plus these newer loggers, they put out so much timber in a day that's, it ain't like years ago where you cut it by hand and there always was demand, but now,
I think it's what the market's so quick then.
yeah.
I watched one of them guys one time, and behind me there's some paper coming in, some 40 behind me there. And I watched one guy, he was like cutting a hayfield. He just went around and round and round, went until 40 was cleared off. Cut everything. Yeah.
So,
did we need a motion?
Yes.
I'll make the motion to approve the bids.
All right, so Gary makes the motion and who's,
I'll second.
and Rick, Rich,
Yep.
thank you. Good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, and then we have this resolution, and that's the next one. So, did we cover everything under the timber sale? Now we're gonna go to the Schwamigan boat lease, club boat lease, and this is the new agenda item that we've added. So it looks like this. Have you got a copy of this?
No.
So this is what do we have another one that we can pass down?
I don't have
You
the
got-
one copy.
that's the
Oh, just the one copy.
That's okay, we can,
Tom, can you summarize a little bit of it?
I'll
or
do that.
Okay.
I know more about it.
Okay, thanks.
So behind Eigler's All at Tomchek Park, that small area of property that the county owns. If you've ever noticed, right on the lake shore, there's a series, I don't know, maybe a half a dozen or so, old buildings, look like garages. Well, those are boathouses.
Okay,
Those boathouses are privately owned. They exist on county property. They are a part of the Schwamigan Boat Club or Outboard Club. The city of Ashland considers them to be historic structures.
okay.
And they're some of the last few remaining historic, old-time boathouses left on Lake Superior. So back in 1985, the county established a lease agreement with the boat club for them to be able to maintain and keep those structures on county property. At that time, that lease agreement was established for a 10-year period, and I think it was $100. We're now, the last time it was renewed was 10 years ago, sorry. It's been being renewed since 1985. It's now up for renewal. Chris has gone through and looked at everything, and basically what he has proposed in this resolution is to adjust the term to 20 years, just so we don't have to deal with it as frequently,
Yeah.
and to increase the annual lease amount from $100 to $150.
Okay. Does everybody understand that?
Has everybody seen pictures of that?
No.
Every once in a while they show up in the daily press.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not like you would want to
Yeah.
own one.
Yeah.
But like you say,
It's
there's historical
It's historic,
value, so,
right.
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
once
always,
it has that historical designation, it's kind of a,
So
Right.
the private owners that own the building keep up the building or whatever then, or how does that work?
It must be like the club that does that together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be contentious at times. Over the years, we've dealt with, the owners wanting to use the structures as,
Something else.
storage sheds. And
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The lease specifically stipulates, that they need to be maintained and used as boathouses.
Okay.
And there's been some, repair issues over the years, but for the most part, it goes pretty smooth.
Oh, okay. So,
When you go to, if you want to put a boat house or a dock on a lake, is that under restrictions yet?
A boathouse, yes.
Or
I-
a dock
I-
on a private?
Well, I think there's limits to a private pier. That would be a zoning question. I think if you're just going to put out, like a pier that you and I are thinking to dock a boat at,
Yeah.
there's no restrictions on
Okay.
that size pier. There's a difference between that and starting a marina. So,
The only-
there's some level of threshold. I don't know where that's at.
yeah, zoning would certainly handle that, but a 210-foot dock could be a problem.
Right.
Also, there is,
Yeah.
especially in that spot.
Well, I put a 210-foot dock up and heard lots of things, and I wasn't in the water with any of it. Not one piece of it hit the water,
Oh, boy.
but there was a zoning issue with it, so it's best just to ask zoning and say, hey, what can I do and can't do?
because I know like on some of the rivers where they're natural rivers like the Brunswick and stuff like that, you're not able to put anything on that river, I guess.
Okay, so there could be a specific zoning ordinance
But I see
governing
people are
that.
still doing it, but my sister did it and she got a fine from the Forest Service, so
Okay.
other people are doing it too, but I don't know. It's a natural river, I guess most of them are posted, so.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with that river.
Would some of them be grandfathered in?
Well, that's the situation with the boathouses.
Okay, this is grandfathered.
Right.
I-
Boathouses or docks too, would that be both?
Potentially, I think that you'd have to make a determination, the way I think about it on a dock, on whether the structure is permanent or temporary. If it's just a dock on posts, I would argue that it's not a permanent structure, it's a temporary structure versus, a dock that somebody made by filling a portion of the waterway in with field stone and timbers. Obviously, that's could be considered a historic permanent structure that would probably hold a greater weight in my eyes, but, I'm not a zoning administrator or attorney, so that's just my opinion.
Thank you.
Well, you give very valuable information to the group, so we thank you for sharing your information.
these boathouses, could they be sold to another person, say a person wants to sell to another person
I believe so.
privately?
Yeah, I believe
So
so.
it could change hands,
I believe so, yep.
so possibly it could change hands to a company maybe even,
Or the county.
Or the county.
or the county could buy them. That'd be the best thing to do. So okay.
Good question, Rich.
Yeah, I believe they can. I mean, if you need to know for sure, we can pull out the lease agreement at some time and see, but I believe, that they can be transferred, sold, or, if it's transferred to an heir after a death or something like that.
If somebody doesn't keep their boathouse up, and it gets kind of ratty, whose job is it to enforce that?
Ours,
Yeah,
forestry
yeah.
departments, through this lease agreement.
Okay.
Yeah, the lease agreement governs everything that's involved with those boathouses, just with regard to them being on county property.
All right. This isn't real long, so I'm gonna read this into the record so that, because this is gonna be a resolution and it's gonna change, so I'll read it. It says, whereas Ashland County in November of 1986 and again in November of 2010 and December 2020 approved a lease agreement with the Schwamigan Outboard Boating Club for the use of county land described as, and whereas the last 10-year lease between Ashland County and the Schwamigan Outboard Boating Club has come to the end of its life, and whereas the Ashland County is willing to rewrite the lease for an additional 20 years. Therefore, be it resolved that the Ashland County Board of Supervisors goes on record the 9th day of December 2020, accepting the renewing the lease with the Schwamigan Boat Club for another 20 years. So I am looking for a motion to this resolution, and I would like to motion this I would like to make this a motion to accept this resolution and pass it.
And that'll come up probably December 12th. In case you don't know, we have a county board meeting.
January 12th.
Yeah, we knew. I didn't know if
Oh,
anybody else
I didn't
knew.
know, no.
December 12th.
Oh,
So-
December 12th or January 12th?
January 12th.
Yeah.
Were you scared the living daylights out of me?
You're right. I'm in the wrong year. Yeah, January 12th, just so everybody's aware
Okay,
of that.
January 12th.
Because that came up
All right.
yesterday.
Okay,
So I'm making the motion and I need a second.
I'll second it.
Good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we'll sign this resolution.
I would say
Tom,
that's,
Yep.
we're signing this?
Oh, sorry, yes.
And is there any other business to come before the committee? I just have one thing to put into the record. When we're talking about dumping garbage on private property, we have an incident in town of Ringo where people are stealing boughs and white birch poles. And the sheriff's department was contacted and they're working on the case, and they're actively working on it. We do have a confession, and they're working with the person who found it. So just that the sheriff's department is working very hard on it, trying to resolve it.
I know that seems to be a big problem everywhere, actually, the birch poles and stuff.
Yeah, they
Especially
didn't
the
ask
birch
them.
poles, yeah.
They didn't ask permission to cut boughs, they didn't ask permission to take white birch poles, and we discovered that things were not right on the property, and we went to the landowner. He said he didn't give anybody permission, and that's how this got started.
That's something we deal with on an annual basis, almost
Yeah.
weekly at sometimes on the county
Really?
force.
Yeah, balls and white birch, yeah.
If you knew the people that own the property, you'd say, what is wrong with society nowadays?
You know, out where I live, out by Duck Lake, they've been investigating the birch poles and the Rate Divide Rangers District. I've been meeting with him because I know some people that did this. And so RJ Sinas, you probably know him.
RJ, yeah.
Yeah. And I had a good meeting with him last week, matter of fact, in deer season, because he stopped at my camp. Regarding this issue, and they are proceeding it pretty heavy, so anybody that's doing it, they're gonna get caught.
Yeah.
And I had a really good meeting with him. He's a very nice guy. The big guy.
Yeah,
About
you-
6'6". I never seen him
Really?
before.
You look up to RJ.
And he said that he'd been working in National County for 5 years, you know.
Really?
Yeah. And I asked him, it was kind of strange because I go to all the meetings and I've never seen him before, you know, so.
Well, he covers a big area because he works out of Hayward. So
Okay.
he covers a lot of the,
He covers a lot of
territory.
County.
And then, to be honest, 60% of the year he's not even here because he handles things like what was our big group of, up in Drummond area 2 years ago? The Rainbow.
Oh, the
Coalition.
rainbow.
He goes nationwide wherever they're going. They call all of those enforcement officers so that takes up in fire duty and stuff. Yeah, I saw him once this past summer.
It sure looked like he'd get his hands full anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, John. Any other business? And next thing, number 12, we need to approve and assign the expense vouchers, so we need a motion to pay the bills.
Also move.
Motion by Marty, seconded by
I'll second
Rich. All those in favor?
it.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And set the date for the next meeting. Does January 6th work for everybody?
As far as I know.
Do we need a meeting?
Usually, don't you
I'll
and,
let you guys know if we're gonna have a meeting. It'll be
Okay.
a temporary set date for that.
Okay, so we'll put in,
and that'd be at 9 o'clock if we
Yes.
have it?
yeah,
Possible meeting.
Yeah.
possible meeting. Tom, one thing that I think would help this committee, if something on the agenda for the county board meeting is gonna be a forestry issue,
Mhm.
I think we should have, even if it's a quick meeting, just to update, here's what we're gonna be discussing, because if somebody would call on us and say, okay, what is this all about? One time, we didn't remember that we had did this. And so, if we, you know, I think it would be good, if it's on the meeting for forestry, then we should have a quick meeting and so we're all on the same page.
If it's on the meeting, if it's on the agenda for county board?
Yes,
or
if it's
forestry?
on the agenda for county board, then forestry should have a quick meeting to say, we're gonna be discussing this, here's what you need to know in case somebody asks you, because
Well,
they
this
are
will be on
doing.
the county board. That'll be on county board for sure.
Yeah,
Timber
and
sales.
like Gary said too, we should really explain how much money forestry took in, you know, and so they understand forestry is the only money-making thing for the county.
You said 686?
Yes,
Okay.
Is that to date or
yeah. Yep,
not, not a projected? just-
No, that's what we have
That
right
makes
now, right?
sense.
Like 686 by
We saw it on there, we didn't-
Sure, yeah, it's been too long ago. Well, I mean, at some points, we were 2, 3, maybe even 4 months between meetings, I know. You know,
I
March
don't want
to-
that to happen.
Right.
It's too long in the,
Especially as the chair.
Next,
yes.
next week on the 17th, finance meets too. So if somebody.
guys.
Yep,
Thanks, Mary. Merry
Okay.
Christmas.
Thank you all.
We could talk about Mary now.
All right, one more thing before we adjourn for the month. The year 2020 has been an absolutely horrid year for the whole country, for the whole world, matter of fact. And this month, it hit Ashland County very hard. Our new county administrator's mother passed away on November 23rd. And on the same day, Dick Pufal's son tragically died too, on the same day. And before we adjourn, I would like to hold a moment of silence in their memory. It's our administrator and our county board chair, the two highest people in our county. And they're both grieving this year during this holiday season. So if we could just take a minute and do a moment of silence. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kim. I appreciate it. Yep, bye.
Very good. Thank you. And the last thing, you know I like to talk. I'd like to wish the Forestry Committee a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It's been a pleasure working with you guys. And nobody brought me coffee today.
Stumptree Road.
Got Christmas.
It didn't do that, did it? So now we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we.
I'll second it.
Motion by Rich and seconded by John to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just as